Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Before my husband was diagnosed with diabetes, one of his favorite junk food snacks were Little Debbie snack cakes, specifically the Little Debbie zebra cakes. So, after he was diagnosed with diabetes, I had to figure out a way to make these zebra cakes and make them taste just as delicious without him having to go through those huge blood sugar spikes after he ate them. And so today, I have made my husband very happy, and I know I'm going to make all of you happy and show you how to make easy keto Little Debbie style zebra cakes. And if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, low-carb, keto, delicious recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you could be notified every time I put out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some Amazon affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those Amazon affiliate links, a small portion will go to me and will help to support the channel. So, anytime you want to purchase anything on Amazon, make sure you remember me, use my affiliate link, and a small portion of your purchase will help to support the channel. And while you do all that, let's get cooking.
Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line an 8 by 8 inch cake pan with parchment paper. Allow the paper to overhang on the sides just a little bit. You'll be using these as handles once the cake is baked. Then set that aside for a minute. In a large mixer bowl, combine 1/4 cup of coconut flour, a half tablespoon of baking powder, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and 1/3 cup of monk fruit sweetener or granulated sweetener of your choice. Sift or whisk the dry ingredients together until there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 2 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature so they mix in more smooth. Beat on low for about 10 seconds or just until the dry ingredients have been moistened. Then increase your speed to medium-low and beat on medium-low for about 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push all the ingredients to the center of the bowl. Add 6 tablespoons of butter that's been softened. Make sure it's just softened, not melted. Then beat on medium speed for about 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined and smooth. Add 2 tablespoons of room temperature milk. Again, make sure it is room temperature so it beats in smoothly. And a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat on medium for another 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined and you have a smooth, creamy batter. Once again, scrape down the sides of the bowl and push all your batter to the center of the bowl. Scoop the batter into your prepared cake pan, then use a spatula or a wooden spoon or your fingers and spread the batter evenly in a thin layer throughout the entire cake pan. You want to make sure this is as even as possible. It's not going to be a thick layer like if you were making a regular cake. It's going to be a thin layer. It will puff up as it bakes, but you're not trying to make a thick cake. You're just doing a thin layer of batter throughout the bottom of the cake pan. Bake at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes or until the cake is golden around the edges and a tester comes out clean. Once it's baked, remove it from the oven. It will still be slightly soft, but it will firm up as it cools. It may also have little tiny bubbles on top. That's okay. They will be covered by the filling, so it's okay if you see little tiny bubbles. Allow it to cool in the pan for about 30 minutes or until it's firm enough to lift out of the pan. Grasp the parchment paper handles and carefully lift out the cake and place it onto a wire rack. Be careful because it will have a slight bit of warmth still to it, and gluten-free baked goods are always fragile while they have any warmth at all in them, so be careful. Then place it in the refrigerator and allow it to sit for about 15 minutes. This just helps the cake firm up a bit so it won't crumble when you cut it into squares. You want to have smooth, firm squares when you cut it, so you do want to refrigerate it for that 15 minutes. A couple minutes before you're ready to remove your cake from the refrigerator, you're going to start the filling. In a large mixer bowl, sift or whisk in a half cup of powdered swerve. Make sure you sift it or whisk it really well. You don't want any lumps in your powdered swerve. You want to have a smooth, fluffy center. Add a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Make sure the butter is melted and cooled. You don't want hot butter. Add a 1/4 cup of room temperature milk. It's very important that this is room temperature or your filling will not come out smooth and fluffy. So room temperature. And a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat on low for about 10 seconds or just until the powdered swerve has been moistened. Then increase your speed to medium-low and beat on medium-low for about 30 seconds or until everything is smooth and fully combined. Reduce your speed to low and gradually add in 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum in small amounts at a time, allowing it to beat in a few seconds after each addition. You do not want to add this all at once. It can bind up on you and then you'll have chunks of xanthan gum in your filling. So add it a little bit at a time. Allow it to beat in for a few seconds, a little bit more. Allow it to beat in another few seconds until the entire 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum is fully combined. Once the xanthan gum is all added and combined, then beat on low for another 30 seconds or until the mixture is thickened and creamy. After it's all beaten together and you have a slightly thick, creamy filling, then allow it to sit for about 2 to 3 minutes just so it can thicken up just a little bit more. You want to have a very smooth, creamy filling. Remove your cake from the refrigerator after it is set for 15 minutes. Cut the cake into 2 even portions and spread the filling evenly over 1 portion of the cake. Cut both portions of the cake into your desired size squares. I do mine around 2 by 2 inches. Just make sure they're squares and they're as even as possible. Don't have to be perfect. Once they're cut, place the unfrosted squares on top of the frosted squares. Gently press the squares together, that way they can seal and won't fall apart on you. Don't push down too hard because if you do, then the filling squishes out all over the place. If you do accidentally push down too hard and the filling squishes out, just use a knife and spread it around the center and sides of the cake. Now the filling recipe does make a lot of filling. I personally like a lot of filling in the middle of my cake, but not everybody likes that much. So if you only want a thin layer of filling, then you can cut the filling recipe in half. That way you only have a thin layer instead of a massive layer of cream in the middle like I like. Place the filled cakes in the freezer and freeze them for about 15 minutes. These are not going to freeze solid, but you want them to be firm enough so that when you coat them, they don't fall apart. So 15 minutes in the freezer should be good. After 15 minutes, remove the cakes from the freezer and in a shallow, wide bowl, combine 9 ounces of Keto white chocolate baking chips. I'm using the Lily's brand. You can use whatever brand you want. Just make sure it is a keto and they're white chocolate. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Start out with 1 tablespoon and then after it melts, if it seems it's still too thick for coating the cakes, then add up to another tablespoon. So start out with 1, see how it goes from there. Microwave on high in 20 to 30 second intervals, stirring after every 20 to 30 seconds until the chips are fully melted and fully combined with the coconut oil. Now be careful because these can burn in your microwave. So mine only took a total of about 50 seconds. I did it for 30 seconds and then stirred it and then another 20 seconds and stirred it until it melted completely. So you really don't want to do it more than 2 30-second intervals because this can burn. And white chocolate's not like milk chocolate. If it burns, you see it. So be careful. Once the coating's all melted, place the cake squares one at a time into the coating and use 2 forks to turn the cakes so they are coated completely with the white chocolate. If you need to, you can use a fork or a spoon to add more of the coating to your squares to make sure that every single part of the squares are fully coated. Once they're coated, place them on a lined baking sheet and place them in the refrigerator for about 15 more minutes or until the coating is firm. Once the coating is firm, remove them from the refrigerator, and in a small microwave-safe bowl, combine 1/4 cup of keto chocolate chips, I'm using the Lily's brand, you can use whatever brand you want, and a 1/2 tablespoon of coconut oil. Microwave these on high for just a few seconds, just enough to melt the chocolate chips and the coconut oil. You only need probably about 20 seconds or so. It doesn't take very long to melt these chocolate chips. Make sure you stir them with a fork completely to make sure they are fully melted and that the coconut oil is fully combined. Then use a spoon and carefully drizzle small amounts of the melted chocolate over the tops of the coated squares. You can make them any design you want to. I just sweep the spoon back and forth and allow it to drop however it chooses to drop. Once you've drizzled the chocolate over all the squares, place them back in the refrigerator for another 10 minutes or until the chocolate has firmed. Once the coating and the chocolate are all firm on your squares, remove them from the refrigerator, place your desired amount on a serving plate. If you do have any leftovers, store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 7 days. You can keep these at room temperature, but you run the risk of your chocolate melting, so I just store them in an airtight container in my refrigerator, and you can keep them for up to 7 days. Eat and enjoy.
And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.